Hello, my name is Demi Ferguson, and the biofuel that I chose for this project was ethanol. So, for an introduction, ethanol is a transparent, colorless liquid that can be used as fuel in gasoline powered vehicles. It is also referred as FE alcohol, grain alcohol, and ETOH. It can be produced from a variety of plant elements together as biomass, and alcohols like ethanol are added to gasoline to boost octane and reduce pollutants that contribute to pollution, such as carbon monoxide. So, how is it grown? Ethanol is grown by fermenting the sugar found in sugarcane and sugar beets, as well as starches of cereals like corn, sorghum, barley, and produces the majority of the fuel ethanol produced worldwide. It's produced by plant sugars and starches, especially cornstarch in the US, and are used to make the majority of the ethanol that we have. Fermentation is the common process used to turn biomass into ethanol, and microorganisms such as bacteria and yeast break down plant carbohydrates during fermentation to create alcohol. The fermentation of grain starch and sugars is not the only possible source of ethanol. Researchers have experimented with a variety of feedstocks, such as biomass found in municipal solid waste materials, quickly growing, popular in willow trees, agricultural waste like corn and rice stalks, and grasses like switchgrass that can yield 2 harvests annually for many years without requiring yearly replanting. Grains require more fuel, fertilizer, and water to grow trees and grasses, which can be cultivated on soils unsuitable for plant cultivation. Ethanol is utilized in engines that ignite the fuel with a spark, just like gasoline. To create a completed ethanol fuel, any percentage up to 83% can be combined with gasoline and ethanol. Ethanol has a lower carbon footprint than gasoline during the entirety of its course because when ethanol is burned, 1 gallon produces 18.92 pounds of CO2, while a mile of driving produces 315 grams of CO2 on average. Because it emits fewer greenhouse gases than other options, ethanol has become a more viable option. According to an analysis done for the Renewable Fuels Association by ABF Economics, the ethanol industry's contribution to the U.S. economy increased in 2022 as production volumes continued to recover from COVID pandemic levels, and producers received higher prices for ethanol and co-products like distiller grains and corn oil. More than 78,800 employment in the United States were directly related to the ethanol industry in 2022, while 342,800 jobs were supported indirectly by the industry throughout all economic sectors. The sector generated $34.8 billion in household income and made up the second highest GDP contribution in history, while a little over 57 billion. There were notable increases in household income, GDP, and employment compared to 2021 levels. The 2022 report also reveals that the industry spent around $47 billion on goods and services, other inputs, and raw materials to make ethanol in the previous year. Purchases of corn alone accounted over $38 billion of that total, and analysis of the ethanol industry's employment and economic effects in the main ethanol producing states in 2022 also included in the research. Eligible producers of advanced biofuels, fuels made from renewable biomass other than maize kernel starch, may be compensated by the Bioenergy Program for Advanced Biofuels in order to encourage the production of more advanced biofuels. Following the Energy Policy Act of 2005, when Congress established the Renewable Fuel Standard requirements, and the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007, which expanded and extended the RFS, the use of ethanol grew. According to the RFS, the amount of renewable fuel used in the U.S. must rise yearly until it reaches 36 billion gallons by 2022. I think that with the information that has been given, it would be very beneficial to look into more research regarding how to reduce the use of grain fermented ethanol and transitioning to a more carbon footprint friendly alternative, like switching from the use of sugars and starches to using grass. My plan of action would be, I would propose, if funding was not an obstacle, would be to first begin implementing the use of grass instead of starch into the ethanol mills across the country. Then I would begin testing to verify that the grass was more beneficial source of producing ethanol and reducing the amount of carbon dioxide that was being produced. I would then look at the economic status of using grass and making sure that other factors weren't being affected too heavily by utilizing grass. Finally, I would completely transfer ethanol mills to use grass instead of starch while still researching even better alternatives to producing ethanol other than grass that work even better at reducing the amount of CO2 produced. And then these are my citations. Thank you so much.